the Washington Post is calling it the invisible primary. This is so true. It's a real look into how elections are actually won. And it was a great story, and it was in Sunday's Washington Post. It's called Candidates Woo Bush Donors for Invisible Primary. And it tells you the three people who actually have any chance of winning the Republican primary. So, I mean, everybody kind of knew that Huckabees of the world, the lower level Brownback, they didn't really have a chance. Although you're never really quite sure why they didn't have a chance, but but you know that they don't instinctively. Maybe because you think Brownback's going to appeal to the way Christian right base, and that's just not enough voters. And you're probably right about that. But also, other people that don't have a chance are people you might not suspect. Hagel. Hagel seems like he's in the news a lot. He's a guy who's moderate. And I still think, despite this story, that Hagel has a tiny bit of a chance. But Newt Gingrich, no chance.
Really?
Yeah. And it's because it's all about the money, Lebowski.
And Newt Gingrich can't bring in the money?
Apparently he has not brought in the money. There are only three people in contention for the money. In this order, and significantly so in this order, where the first guy has a tremendous lead, the second guy is got a big lead on number 3. Number 1 is John McCain. Mm-hmm. And that's why I've been saying all along, this is a fake contest. Everybody's talking nonsense. McCain's got the donors locked up. He already has the quote-unquote maverick moderate thing going.
Right.
And he's already sold out to the Christian right. He's got all his bases covered. It's McCain. It's Goodnight Irene. Now, the guy who's in second is the guy that Ben's been talking about a lot, Mitt Romney. Mm-hmm. Mitt Romney could do a challenge if McCain implodes on Iraq, because Mitt Romney's getting the second most amount of money, and he's conservative, but he was the governor of Massachusetts. So he's got a couple of different bases covered. And apparently he's charismatic and does really well with the donors.
Yeah.
And number 3 guy who's in contention, but really distant from the other two, is Rudy Giuliani.
I don't see Rudy Giuliani picking up pace at all. I just don't see it happening for him. I don't think he's likable at all.
Well, that's interesting, and that's an issue in and of itself. And then, of course, a lot of people say he's too liberal. But what's interesting is that, because he supports gay rights and he's pro-choice, etc., which I'm sure he'll have a conversion any day now.
He would sell out in a heartbeat. I mean, he would be just like John McCain.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't trust Giuliani as far as you can throw him. I just don't.
I don't trust Giuliani at all either. But what this article shows is none of that matters.
Uh-huh.
It's not if you're liberal or you're too liberal or too conservative, or if I trust you or I don't trust you, or you're charismatic. Charismatic matters in raising money. But outside of that, see, because what's going to happen is, as the article points out, you're going to get to February of 2008. And once you get to February, you're going to have a quote-unquote clear leader. And the press is going to decide who the clear leader is, partly sensibly, partly not sensibly, based on who's got the most money.
Well, now, does McCain have the most money because he jumped out of the gate first, because he always had this momentum behind him because of the whole Maverick thing? I mean, liberals were behind him, I would say, even 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, he had a lot of momentum now for a lot of years. Is that how he was able to bring in the money? Now, will that burn out before 2008?
Absolutely not is the answer to your first question, which is, did he have the money because he was popular and he was, the liberals even liked him 2 or 3 years ago? This has nothing to do with popularity.
No.
Let me answer the question. How did he get the money? Is he made a deal with Bush, and he specifically went to the right, and he's been working really, really hard for a long time, laying down a foundation with the pioneers and the Rangers.
So he got in early.
Yes, that is exactly why. And he's been... And that's why he went and hugged Bush and did all that thing, because he wanted, not because he thought necessarily this will get me more votes, but he thought this will get me his donor base. And if I can get the donors, I'm going to have $100 million by February, and whoever gets $100 million by February wins. And part of the reason they win is that they have more money for ads. The other part of the reason is that means they get to have established foundations in all the primary states. They have more workers. They have more of a structure set up, and so they've got people on the ground in South Carolina, in New Hampshire, in Iowa. They're everywhere. They're in the big states before the others even begin to think about the other big states. So that's why when Bush went against McCain, McCain lost because Bush just had too much money.
Right.
And McCain had to make his last stand in South Carolina, which was a terrible place to make his last stand, because once he got past South Carolina, he ran out of money and didn't have anybody on the ground in any of the other states, didn't have money to run ads, didn't have money for anything. So he realized the one lesson he learned from the 2000 race is it's not about the votes. It's not about whether you look like a maverick. It's not about whether the press likes you. It's about the money, Lebowski. And so now that's why he's sold out and done all these things. If you're just concerned about politics and just concerned about getting the Republican nomination, it's a smart move for him.
God, he's going to be old.
Yeah, he is. And again, that's a minor issue.
No, I know, but it's just interesting. He's going to be old.
Yeah, no question. But Reagan was old, and that didn't hurt him any. And
He'll
and
be
now
older
on
than Reagan, though, won't he?
That's a very good question. It'll be close. I think McCain would be older
Yeah.
than Reagan when Reagan first won the presidency if McCain wins in 2008. That's my recollection of it. So now on the Democratic side, you might wonder, so who's got the money there? And so who are going to be the candidates?
Please don't tell me it's Hillary.
Of course, it's Hillary.
Somebody else have jumped on the ball before her. God, if it's McCain, Hillary.
It's awful. And it's going to be McCain, Hillary. It's awful.
It's okay. Well, hi, congratulations, John McCain. I hope you enjoy being president.
That's one issue. The other issue is, can you really separate him on the Iraq War? In fact,
No.
Who knows? Raise your hand if you know what Hillary Clinton's stance on the war is. I've never heard her talk about it. Now, Ben, if he was here,
the course.
no, she doesn't say that. She doesn't say anything because she's such a politician. If Ben was here, he'd go into his rant about, oh, you don't know, I'm sure she gave speeches and blah, 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 blah. Really? When's the last time you heard of Hillary Clinton coming out? And I think if Hillary Clinton gave a big speech, there's some chance we'd all hear about it.
I think the last big speech I heard her give was at the conference we were at in June. And it was a disappointing speech in which she got booed.
Yeah, on the Iraq issue.
Yes.
Absolutely. Because she's still, I mean, how can, we just won a crushing victory in 2006. The whole country's with you. And all the Democrats, and at this late juncture, Hillary still has not spoken out strongly against the war. And she's never said whether going in the first place or voting for it in the first place was a mistake.
No, but that'll be the best thing for her. I mean, that was really smart on her part.
Why? I think it's terrible. How does that help her with voters?
Because it's really smart politically because now they can't play the quote game back and forth in the ads. You can't really burn her on anything. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff that you can pull out.
First of all, that's never true because they could always find something.
But I'm
when
saying
he
it
runs
won't-
in
it won't be as-
2008,
it won't be
she's
as-
going to say she's against the war.
It
Of
won't
course she's
be
gonna
as
say that, and
detrimental.
they're going to say, well, you were for the war in the beginning, now you're against the war. Blah, 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 blah. They're going to do the same thing to her that they did to everybody.
Yeah, but you put how many years then from 5 years, 6 years between.
So her
between
big
the
bragging
vote?
right is that she didn't say anything for 5 years. Courage and leadership. Courage and leadership. By the way, number 2, out of nowhere, zooms into number 2 on the money race, Barack Obama.
See, that's promising. That's promising.
The guy's on fire. And I'll tell you.
I hope he stays on fire. I really think he can zoom past Hillary Clinton.
New Hampshire, packed audiences. You can't find place to put people when Barack Obama speaks. And the guy gives a great speech, and I think he would make a good president, but I don't know a thing that Barack Obama has done.
Yeah.
Not one thing. I don't know why we're all so excited. We'll talk about it tomorrow on the Young Turks on Air America Radio.